Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let's just give people like 2-3 minutes to join in. Okay, so we'll get started by 5:35, if that's fine with everyone. Please confirm that you can see and hear me clearly. You can drop a message in the chat box just to confirm. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Elizabeth. Welcome. Thank you, Pelumi. Thank you, David Musa. Thank you, Noah. All right, so it's 5:35 exactly, and we're going to get started. So once again, welcome everyone. I'm really excited to be doing this. This is the first time I would ever be teaching a class, or at least sharing the knowledge I have on the crypto space and what we have come to know as blockchain technology. So today's event is sponsored by Binance. They're the world's #1 cryptocurrency exchange, and we would go into that later on in this class. So I'll get started with a brief introduction of myself. I'm a data analyst based in Abuja. I currently work with a public-private fintech. My background is in information systems and technology. I love cryptocurrency, and I firmly believe that is one of the tools that will drive a lot of innovation in years to come. And for crypto in Africa too, I believe that it will really transform how we do and deal with some of the things that are currently issues for us on this side of the continent. So let's start from the very beginning. What is money, right? Over time, we have known money to become anything that can be used as an exchange, right? So whatever two people agree on to be a stock value can be regarded as money. So if, for instance, myself and let's say Deborah Lucom agree that a chicken is worth 5 naira and a paper bag is worth 2 naira, and Deborah Lucom wants that paper bag and I am willing to exchange that paper bag for chicken, then we can say that that is some form of money. So value is based on shared belief. If two people agree or more than two people agree that this thing has a shared value, has value, then you can regard that as money and something that can be used as an exchange. Kindly permit me if I'm looking away from the camera sometimes. I'm just trying to admit people into the room. So what is the traditional means of money that we currently have? Legal tender across the world, the US dollar, the naira, the pounds, all of this. This has come to replace things that were traditionally used in the past, like gold, silver, although those are still instruments that are used, but they are no longer publicly available, right? So if we use these legal tenders now, we have the dollar, we have the pound. So those are what fiat money currently is, and they are usually backed by government. So the US dollar is backed by the American government, the naira is backed by the Nigerian government, the pound is backed by the British government. I am giving this background so that we know where money started from, and then also we are able to see how cryptocurrency aims to solve some of the problems that traditional money currently has. As I go along on this lecture, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. At the end of the session, I will address as many questions as I can before the session ends. So I'm aiming to keep this to about 45 minutes to 15 minutes, because I know that most people have gone to work and joined in. So this is big to be here at this time. So what is cryptocurrency? So essentially at the base of it, cryptocurrency is digital money, and it is the technology that backs it is called cryptography. And one of the amazing things about cryptocurrency is that it cannot be duplicated or destroyed, right? And it is distributed, it is stored on distributed networks, and it is essentially borderless. So that is at the base form of it, that is what cryptocurrency is. The digital form of money, it can be duplicated or destroyed. It is distributed. As I go along, you'll get to know more of what I mean by some of these terminologies. So Bitcoin, yes, I'm sure everyone that is on this call has at a point of time heard about Bitcoin, either if someone was convincing you to buy or someone was trying to educate you on what it is. What exactly is Bitcoin? Essentially, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that was ever created, right? It's transparent, it has a limited supply. So when I mean that it has limited supply, that means so far, the way Bitcoin exists, only 21 million Bitcoins are ever going to be created. Currently, I think we have about 14 to 15 million Bitcoins that are currently circulating in supply. But in forever and ever, the maximum number of Bitcoins that will ever be created is 21 million Bitcoins. And then it's an open source project, and it's very censorship resistant. If you live in Africa, you would know that governments have begun to crack down on foreign exchange and different type of things. So cryptocurrencies offer a way to avoid government censorship. And if we can remember, like especially in Nigeria, during the NSAS process, we could see how cryptocurrency was one of the ways that money was being moved around to avoid all the trappings of the governments. So who created Bitcoin? Up until today, we do not know the exact person. The person that created Bitcoin operated under a pseudonym known as Satoshi, right? So he operated under a pseudonym known as Satoshi, and what we know about him is that he was a computer scientist, and he essentially he's the creator of Bitcoin, and today he's known as the creator of the blockchain technology that we use. He created Bitcoin in 2009 and literally disappeared. So disappeared doesn't mean that he died, but literally he stopped all forms of communication. Until today, nobody can exactly guess or know who essentially Satoshi is. Okay, I see some questions coming. Like I said, I'll answer the questions at the end of the session. So I've spoken about one thing now. I've spoken about cryptocurrency. Now I'm going to speak about blockchain. And what is blockchain? At the very base level of it, blockchain is a distributed database. That is like the simplest explanation. Like I said about this class is going to be very simple and straight to the point. At the base of it, blockchain is a distributed database. And what is this distributed database, right? Or what can you store on this distributed database? You can store money on this distributed database. You can store documents. In short, any form of digital data that you can think of or you can comprehend can be stored on a blockchain. And the beauty of a blockchain is that it is tamper-proof. In the following slides, you will see why I say blockchain is tamper-proof. Okay, so this will help drive the points home of blockchain. So think of blockchain, like I said, is a distributed database. So let's say you work somewhere and in your office, you guys have a database that holds all of your data. And most times that database is physical. It's right there in your office. Maybe it's a chain of servers that are all connected together. And that's that database holds all the data in your company. Then what is now a blockchain? A blockchain is that same thing, but distributed all over the world. So for instance, if you wanted to make a change to a document or to something on a database in your office, all you just needed to do was go down to where your database is housed or where your servers are and make that change. But if you wanted to make a change on blockchain, right, you would need to physically go to all the locations where these servers have been distributed around the world, because people are essentially holding bits of the blockchain on systems, servers, different types of security chains all around the world. So you need to go to all of those chains to make any change to it. That is why we say a blockchain is tamper-proof. Once you have entered data on a blockchain, it cannot be changed. Like, it is there for life. So if you think about things like that, you can start to see how blockchain will be very, very useful in terms of stopping some of the problems that we currently have in the world right now. Think of a problem like in healthcare, maybe like that patient data goes missing or something. It will never happen on the blockchain, because immediately you put something on the blockchain, it is there forever. And the beauty is that it cannot be tampered with, it cannot be destroyed. That record is there because once you put that record, it's almost like that record, you take it and bits of that record are distributed on all the servers that are on that blockchain. So when you want to retrieve the record, it's almost like it reassembles those data together and then it gives it to you. And then once you store it back, it breaks back into those distributed chains. So think of it as something like Voltron. If you watch Voltron, the cartoon, when Voltron wants to assemble, you can see that all the different parts come together and then they can now disassemble to go and continue being what they are individually. But that is essentially what a blockchain is. You can store data and it's distributed on all the servers and systems that are on the blockchain. So Bitcoin and blockchain, what are the differences? Blockchain is the technology that powers Bitcoin. Blockchain is the technology that powers Bitcoin. Essentially, blockchain, think of blockchain as a rail track. Blockchain is a rail track, and then Bitcoin is a type of train on the rail track. So on that rail track, you can have different types of trains. So on a blockchain, you can have a currency train, you can have a healthcare train, you can have a real estate train, you can have a sports train, you can have a gaming train. There's so many types of trains you can build on that rail called the blockchain. But Bitcoin was the first to be built on blockchain, and it is the most popular currency on the blockchain. There are several other currencies, which is a discussion for another class. But essentially, blockchain is the technology that powers Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a currency on the blockchain. There are several types of currencies, and there are other things that you can build on the blockchain. Essentially, that is what it is. So now the differences between Bitcoin and normal money as we know it. So normal money that we know, your Naira, your dollar, your pound, your euros, is centralized. Governments control this money. The CBN prints money. The American government prints money. Bitcoin is decentralized, right? People need to mine Bitcoin. Like there's no one person that is in control of the total supply of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is decentralized. It is not controlled by governments. That Bitcoin is not controlled by governments. Regular money is controlled by governments. Regular money is not scarce, right? So like today, governments can print more money. They just need to put like a serial code on it. Bitcoin is scarce. Regular money does not have a limited supply. Bitcoin has a controlled and limited supply. On the blockchain or on Bitcoin, you cannot reverse your transactions. Once a transaction is done, it is done. Governments can always recall back funds and all of that. Bitcoin is fast and cheap, and it's censorship resistant. That means governments cannot censor it. If today the Nigerian government wakes up and says that there will only be a limited supply of Naira in the whole country, that is what is going to happen, right? Or the UK government says there's only going to be a limited supply of pounds in the country, that's what is going to happen. But you cannot censor Bitcoin that way. It will always be on the move because no one single person or entity is controlling it. So let's talk a bit about fees, right? So if you do transactions quite a bit, maybe you send money either from Nigeria abroad or from abroad to Nigeria or across any other country, you would notice that banks charge quite a significant amount of money to get these funds across to you. And in 2018, worldwide remittances were about $689 billion. Out of $689 billion, 7% of it alone was in bank fees and charges, which was about 48 billion. So you can imagine how much banks are making from just fees alone, charging fees for bank transfers. How does cryptocurrency solve this problem? Very easy. Transactions on blockchain are at the barest minimum about 0.5%. An interesting fact was that in 2021, this year, in January, someone transferred $1 billion worth of cryptocurrency and he paid less than $1 for that transfer. In fact, he paid 49 cents. So 49 cents is like kobo. So if it was supposed to pay 1 Naira for the transaction, he essentially paid 49 kobo for the transaction. So that is what it is. Like blockchain transfers, it reduces fees to the barest minimum. And so for something like Bitcoin, fees are even still quite an issue. That's why other cryptocurrencies were created to tackle and solve issues. In this field, things are always, it's still a very exploratory field. So things are coming up every day. If you decide to go on this journey of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, you will find out that there are so many expressions, there are so many things. You can decide to become a blockchain developer, like you can decide to build apps on blockchain. You can decide to hold cryptocurrencies. You can decide to be a trader. You day trade on cryptocurrencies. There are so many things that you can do, but this class is just an introduction to show you the different types of opportunities that exist in blockchain cryptocurrency space. So where are cryptocurrencies kept? essentially, there are two types of ways that cryptocurrencies are currently held. One way is through hot wallets, and another way is through cold wallets. So I'll just quickly explain the difference between those two. Okay, there's a third way, paper wallets. So the first one, hot wallets, they are essentially wallets that are on the internet, right? Software wallets. Like I said, these are, I know there are quite in a lot of terminologies here that we're just being introduced to, but in subsequent classes, for those that want to go on this journey, I will continue to break some of these things down to like the very barest minimum, and you would understand these things. So there are hot wallets, wallets that are on the internet. They are cold wallets. Those are essentially cryptocurrencies that are stored on hardwares. So cryptocurrencies can be stored on something that looks like a flash drive. I'm sure like almost everyone here would be familiar with what a flash drive looks like. Cryptocurrencies can be stored on things like that. And then paper wallets. So essentially, for paper wallets, you essentially write down what cryptocurrencies are. You write down your key. So if every cryptocurrency wallet has a specific key attached to it, that key is a string of characters. I do not want to go into that because I want to keep this as basic as possible. But just know that in cryptocurrency wallets, there are three types or three main groups. There are software wallets, which are called hot wallets. There are hardware wallets, which are called cold wallets. And then there are paper wallets. So let's look at some of the things that you can build on blockchain. Like I said, use cases. There are so many examples. We'll just look at, I think, 3 or 4 examples. So obviously the first one is in finance already, which we have seen happening already. So we can see development of technologies in finance on the blockchain network. So you can see that what we have is faster transactions. See, you can literally send money in 30 seconds on the blockchain. Like if you are in, think of the most remote place in this world. Think of if someone is in Antarctica and he has a phone and internet, he can send money to you like right now and you get that money in less than 30 seconds. Like that's how fast blockchain is. Like you don't need to go to a bank. You don't, like the possibilities are limitless. And that is just in remittance or finance alone. Obviously lower fees and then less intermediaries. It's a direct transaction, it's peer-to-peer. I want to send money, you want to receive money, I send the money directly to you. It's recorded on the blockchain. Everyone can see that I have sent the money. You can see that you have received the money. In blockchain, there is nothing like I sent money, you did not see it. You would literally see the transaction there. Like it's clear for every participant to see on the blockchain. Another place that we can use blockchain technology is in supply chain. So obviously supply chain, if you have done anything that relates to supplying goods and services, you know that there can be some lack of efficiency and transparency when you're distributing these goods and services. But building something on blockchain technology, make sure that it is secure and transparent, reduces labor. Obviously, it is tamper-proof. You don't have to spend as much time trying to verify your goods and services because everything about that transaction is literally on the blockchain and everyone can see it at the same time. Also in healthcare, I spoke about this a little bit earlier. You can use it to store patient data that cannot be changed or even messed with, right? It cannot be erased because anything that you store on the blockchain, it has been recorded forever. You cannot erase it, you cannot destroy it. In fact, if you even burn the computer that you used to save it, that doesn't mean that the record has been erased because, like I said, blockchain is distributed database. So copies of that data still exist on servers that are distributed all over the world. So even things like medical insurance fraud, it guards against all of that because the technology is transparent and it is easy to see for everyone. So essentially, that's what blockchain is. I'll just use the next 5 to 10 minutes to talk to you about Binance. So the people that sponsored this particular class, and then I'll take a couple of questions, and then I'll let you know what the next steps are. So essentially, Binance is the world's leading cryptocurrency exchange. They currently manage a whole lot of transactions that are going on the blockchain on a day-to-day basis. Yes, they manage a lot of transactions that go on the blockchain technology right now. Their goal is freedom, right? They believe that they can increase the freedom of money globally, and that by spreading this freedom, we can significantly improve lives all around the world. Binance went from number 10 to number 1 in about 5 months, right? So they were able to become the number 1 cryptocurrency exchange in just a little over 5 months. And that is the position that they currently occupy. So they are currently available in 180 plus countries. They are team members from different regions, and they are available in multiple languages. There are a variety of things you can do on Binance. This is definitely another class which I'll be communicating to everyone when it will hold. And for those that are interested in that class, I'll be letting you know. We'll do like a deep dive into the Binance platform, things you can do with it, how you can save money, how you can trade, how you can invest, and how you can essentially get into cryptocurrency. Okay, so essentially you can get funded on Binance in a couple of minutes. It's very, very easy because of restriction of the government in this jurisdiction. Basically, how funds are being deposited on Binance currently is through peer-to-peer methods, right? So you can use the bank transfer or Visa, MasterCard. But in times past, it was possible to do that. But essentially, even the peer-to-peer system is very, very secure. And it's something that I've used myself hundreds and millions of times, and it works every single time. Right. So essentially, this is the end of the class. I will pause here now for questions. I'll just take the first question that I have on the chat. So the question is from NASA. He says that the same way money is printed, can't more Bitcoin be mined? If no, why not? So I'll quickly answer that question. When you are creating currencies on the blockchain, you can signify the total supply you want it to have. And so when Satoshi was creating Bitcoin, he signified that the maximum supply of Bitcoin that will ever be mined is 21 million. It has already been written into the contract. Even if anybody wants to mine more Bitcoin, is literally impossible, because you literally have to break that contract, that smart contract. There are things called smart contracts in blockchain technology. So you literally have to break that smart contract. And to break that smart contract means you have to go to everywhere that smart contract exists on all those distributed databases to break it. So you can see the beauty of blockchain technology. You need to know that once you have said something, it's almost like I've forgotten the name of that movie where you put the sword in stone and you cannot pull out that sword again. I think Escobar or something. That's essentially, that's sort of like the thinking behind behind crypto and behind blockchain technology. Once it has been done, it is set in stone, and those transactions are immutable. You cannot change them. They cannot be reversed. They cannot be destroyed. Yes. Okay. Omolola, thank you. Excalibur. Yes, that is it. So I have another question from John. John says, what determines the market value of cryptocurrencies? essentially supply and demand. Supply and demand. The more people want something, obviously the price is bound to go up. The less people want something, obviously the price is bound to go down. We can see that at the beginning of this year, there was a lot of new money pouring into cryptocurrencies, or let me say late last year and at the beginning of this year, because people were at home, people didn't know what to do. So more people were reading about cryptocurrencies and putting money into it. An exchange called Robinhood, very, very popular in the US. Some of you may have heard about it. Millennials and Gen Zs were pouring money into cryptocurrency, and that saw some of the cryptocurrencies, hit their all-time high. So something like Bitcoin rose as high as $60,000 per Bitcoin before people started to take out money, and then the value dropped. So essentially, supply and demand is what determines the market value of cryptocurrencies. Okay, are there any more questions? Please feel free to ask your questions. I know that this is a very beginner class. I hope I've been able to communicate at least in very simple and basic terms what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, and what cryptocurrencies are. Anyone that's interested, I'll be sending out this presentation via email. So I have everyone's email, so I'll send this presentation if you just want to go over it. And I'll also upload this recording to YouTube and send out a link to if you just want to go back and rewatch it and go over it again. Also, if you are interested in starting your cryptocurrency journey, I will send you a link to download the Binance app. I'll send all of this via email. I'll send you a link to download the Binance app. I will be able to handhold a couple of people. I'm looking to do probably between 15 to 20. I do not want to do a large crowd. I want to do between 15 to 20 people, handhold you, show you all the steps to set up your account, get your accounts verified, probably help you purchase your first cryptocurrency. There are different types of cryptocurrencies that you can purchase. Maybe show you some cryptocurrencies to invest in for the long term. Obviously, not financial advice, but I have a bit of insight into some cryptocurrencies that I believe will do well in the next 3 to 4 years or 5, 7 years. The first time I got introduced to cryptocurrency, I think the very first cryptocurrency I bought was Ethereum. So Ethereum was created after Bitcoin. And I think I bought it when it was about $100 per Ethereum. And by the time I was selling it, it was about $500 per Ethereum. So I sold it to invest in a couple of other projects that were coming up. Right now, Ethereum is about $3,000. So just imagine that for some funny reason, I had held my $100 worth of Ethereum up until now. That would be like a 30 times increase in the value. No regrets, because I've invested in some other projects. But yes, if you're willing to start your crypto journey anytime soon, please, when I send out that email, just reply to the email with your phone number. I'll create a WhatsApp group and add you to it, and you can get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I hope this was really, really insightful. I hope that if you have never heard about blockchain or Bitcoin, I was able to provide at least a good introduction into it. And if you have heard about blockchain and Bitcoin before, I was able to provide a refresher into it. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
this one now, then they